I just saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And what else did you expect? Yeah, I did not like this movie, not one bit. To me, this movie is just everything wrong with legacy sequels these days. But first, a little background. For me, I've never been a big fan of the Indiana Jones franchise. I've seen all the movies and really enjoyed the first few, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and this one did not leave me blown away, to say short. So I'm not a fan of the series, but I know a lot of people are. I know that a lot of people have a similar connection to this franchise that I do with Jurassic Park. And I guarantee that this movie is for them what Dominion was for me. Oh yes, it's that bad. Hell, probably even worse than Dominion. And there's a very specific few reasons for that. And those reasons are exactly what I think is wrong with most legacy sequels nowadays. So let's go over why that is exactly. Number 1, disrespecting the original. Yeah, the most obvious point, but arguably the most important one here, is that these sequels don't give a crap about the original and only use it to make money. It's a dead horse, I know, but it's true. With sequels like these, they never intend to just make one and done, necessarily. They don't intend to just make one sequel just to wrap up loose ends and then leave it forever. No, they plan to keep this stuff going. And you feel that here as well. Because unfortunately, now we can't have standalone movies anymore. Everything now has to be a part of a bigger picture. Everything's gotta have a sequel because there's nostalgia money to be made here. So where exactly does Indy 5 disrespect its original? Well, let's start with, obviously the highlights, the characters. Indy himself has become a rather shell of a man who's depressed, angry, and unsure what to do with himself. Now, for me personally, I don't really mind this idea. After all, I've seen it done well several times, and we need conflict, otherwise the movie can't exist. You know, we need a reason to start this journey. But the thing is, they never do anything with this setup. Sure, they establish it in the beginning, but they never follow through on it. They never go into depth with it, they never explain it or explore it. It's just there and then forgotten. So why should we even care about it if you don't care about it either? And giving such a likable character a dumb reason to go off on a journey, his main selling point, and treat them like a glorified side character in their own movie? Yeah, that's strike one. Then we get the side characters, like Indy's never-before-seen goddaughter, and she's the definition of a Mary Sue. What is that, you ask? Well, it's a female character who's perfect in every way, one that lacks flaws, or if she does, it's ones that are never developed, alongside the fact she's better in every way compared to every other character. Being able to show up the classic ones with plot convenience, ability to exceed on the adventures despite the fact she's never done an adventure before, or anything even slightly adventurous before. Well, unless you count stringing mobsters along. Not to mention, she is annoying as a character, annoyingly performed, and inconsistently written. That's strike two. And then there's the villain. A guy who has a great actor portraying him, but serves as nothing but an excuse to bring older villains back from the previous movies, and refuse to expand upon them in any meaningful way to make it impactful, and simply just using it because that's what worked in the past, without any understanding as to why they worked in the past. That's strike three. You see the problem here? They're so quick to make the classic characters the biggest on the poster and in all the trailers, but when the movie's out, they serve nothing more than to make the new characters look good, so they can have their own series that go on to make more money. Oh, Pinking, I hear what you ask. What about the Creed movies? They do that, but you don't complain about them. Why is it bad here? Well, there's a reason to that. Creed didn't use this to make newer characters look good by leeching off the old one. They made it good by passing the torch off in a natural way, with both old and new characters having problems of their own that are only solved by helping each other, and eventually letting the others spread their wings. It was a natural progression that also felt like its own thing, and if you need more proof as to why this is, then the fact that one used its own title and the other used a reused old, more recognizable one should say it all. Number 2. Wasted potential. Yes, wasted potential. Something that seems to haunt most legacy sequels. Instead of using that time to come up with a new vision, one that can help modernize the old formulas while still making them fresh, they much rather stick to what worked before. Again, I draw parallels with Dominion here, because these movies advertise one major thing that's tricking you into thinking it will be about that, and have that as the main point. With Dominion, it was dinosaurs on the mainland, with Indy, it's time travel. But despite these being new and interesting ideas that are full of potential, they only use it as nothing more than clickbait. As despite the theme being used in all the trailers, and the build-up, and all the promotion, it has less than 20 minutes to do with the actual movie, and instead just uses the same tropes as before. With Dominion, it was running from dinosaurs in a dark jungle again, and with Indy, it was a global fetch quest again. Nothing new, nothing inventive, just the same schlock fed to us again, just lacking any soul. At this point, it's just false promises, saying you offer one thing but delivering something completely different. And I think we could all agree that no one likes to be lied to. Number 3, and the worst thing of all, the absurdly moronic decision these legacy sequels make is that they're so boring. Incredibly boring. While I was in the theatre, I found my mind coming to one thought while watching Dial of Destiny, and it was the fact that this movie was so boring. This is what I feel separated it from Dominion for me, because at least Dominion wasn't boring. Sure, it was bad, but at least it wasn't boring. This one is so painfully boring. The one thing Indiana Jones always tried to avoid was being boring. The adventures, the one-liners, the action, and the Indy movies always felt fun at the very least. Regardless of quality, there would always be something in these movies that stuck with you, something that kept you interested, whether you be laughing, on the edge of your seat, something kept your interest. But here, there was absolutely nothing. Everything here has been done before, and done way better. I am actually struggling to find something outside the first 20 minutes worth remembering. Oh yeah, the only positive thing I will ever say about this movie is that the first 20 minutes, the flashback scene, is the only memorable moment because it actually feels like Indiana Jones. It was fun, it was action-packed, and had a really cool setting of being on a train full of Nazis. It's a new interesting location, new interesting use of the villains, using a new clever situation to help get our characters to do new things and improvise. It was exciting and it was awesome. I wish the rest of the movie was like that. But outside of it, there was nothing to care about. You've seen it all done before, you felt it done way better before, and you never forget it's been done before. And when your main selling point is a fun adventure and it's boring, that's when you know you've done something wrong. Oh boy, yeah, I do not care for this movie. I can't even hate it, it's that bland, I can't even remember anything to hate. And hate implies I actually care, which this movie just ultimately did not leave me caring. But what do you guys think? What do you think of the movie? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you all later.
Are you having a laugh?
What?
You just said each member of the team is chosen for their unique abilities. He does exactly what I do, but better.